morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to talk about some really impactful cards that are coming around in Mega Evolution. We've actually got cards that specifically help specific types of Pokemon, but I don't want to start with any of those. I want to start with Lieutenant Surge's deal. And I kind of love this. It is a supporter card that reads, ask your opponent if they agree to have each player take a prize card. If your opponent agrees, you each take a prize card. Otherwise, you draw 4 cards. I love this. I think this is brilliant. Also, shout out to the lovely Antoine Boulet, as always, because although I did translate this myself, they have clearly worded it way better than I would have done. So shout out to them for being awesome, as always. Now, here's the thing, right? If you've got 1 prize card remaining, your opponent ain't going to say yes to this. But if your opponent is ahead and giving them an extra prize as well as you taking an extra prize is going to lead them to victory, they're going to say yes every time. Good players will do the thing that hurts you and helps them. But a lot of the time, this can be a draw 4, which we know Pokemon don't like doing. Pokemon don't like giving us a plain draw 4. This can be a plain draw 4. But not only that, it's a great card for trying to trick your opponent. If they think they're ahead, but you know you're going to bring a surprise in a turn or two, this is going to help. I don't really think you could ever play this as a 4-of and really build your deck around it. However, I really, really do like that we can essentially play this as a 1-of in decks that can go and search it out, and over we go. Love it. Big fan. Very awkward card to use properly. Now, I did tell you yesterday that we've got that new Vitality Forest card coming that lets you evolve grass Pokemon immediately. Well, I know we're not really talking about that here because we've already talked about it, but I want to show you Meganium. It's got that ability we've seen before that says basic grass energy attached to your Pokemon. Provide 2 grass energy, this attack doesn't stack. Although, as some people have already pointed out, it actually doesn't need to say that it doesn't stack. The fact that it turns 1 grass energy into 2 kind of already implies that it just turns 1 into 2. It can then not turn that further, but it's still nice to have that confirmation. Here's the thing, though. We've got Teal'c Ogerpon, and we've got Venusaur. And the combination of these cards, now, maybe it's going to be asking too much, but there is a lot going on here that's awesome. Because Mega Venusaur can essentially move the energy anywhere it needs to go. Teal'c Ogerpon can attach extra cards, extra grass cards, 1 per Teal'c Ogerpon per turn, and then this makes each of those counters 2. There is something here with grass decks. There is something going on. Now, it could well end up being way too awkward, but I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this could be fun. Also, just as a side note, even if you take Venusaur out of it, Teal'c Ogerpon does 30 damage plus 30 more for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. And it says energy, not energy card. So Meganium doubling up here would actually help quite a bit. I've got my eye on grass. But if you're more of a water Pokemon fan, don't worry, we've got your back as well with Surfing Beach. Yeah, that's right. Surfing Beach is a stadium card, and it says that once during each player's turn, they may switch their active water Pokemon with one of their bench water Pokemon. You have to switch out a water Pokemon, and you have to switch in a water Pokemon. It is a card that only exists for switching water Pokemon. But if you're playing water Pokemon, this is kind of brilliant. And it doesn't even make the retreat 0, it just lets you switch, which means you can then also potentially retreat, because remember, to retreat is once per turn, so even stadiums will let you retreat more easily. Oh, but that's still your retreat for the turn. This is not your retreat for the turn. Being able to switch in and out is always a good thing. Having that on a stadium is a rather large bonus. So, yeah. Oh, what's that? You want a card that could maybe work with this quite nicely? Palafin. This, I mean, I'm not saying it's only for Palafin, But I'm saying you've got to be thinking this with Palafin, because remember, Palafin EX can only be played with Palafin 0 to Hero ability, and Palafin 0 to Hero ability says that when it moves from the active to the bench, you can search for Palafin EX, but then you're on the bench. So you retreat it, and then you put another water Pokemon active, and then you can put Palafin EX into the active, and off we go. I like this. Again, it's a very situational kind of card. It's very much only for water Pokemon. But if you're playing a water deck, this is going to help. And if you've got low retreat and you're not worried, then that's fine. But I'm saying there are enough decks that are going to make use of this to make it very interesting indeed. But let's say you don't want water and you don't want grass. Well, how about darkness? Because we've got ourselves a stadium here, dangerous abandoned building, and this is a stadium card that says whenever any player puts a basic Pokemon other than darkness onto their bench, put 2 damage counters onto that Pokemon. We've seen plenty of stadiums like this in the past. Stadiums that you bench a Pokemon and you have to take a couple of damage, fine. Well, now we've got this, but it's really specifically for your darkness Pokemon. Like Gapejaw Bog, it's not been that long since we actually had Gapejaw Bog being released. I mean, admittedly, it has rotated out, but still. That was whenever any player put a basic Pokemon down, they took 2 damage counters. I kind of like this because it allows you to get the advantage of Gapejaw Bog, your opponent takes a damage, without you having to take the disadvantage, you also take the damage. Frankly, I like this. I like this quite. I like a lot of these cards, honestly. This one seems fun. And hey, while we're talking about cards that are specifically going to be helpful for Darkness Pokemon, how about we have a chat about the new Spiritomb? Because what Spiritomb's got here is the ability Vengeful Swirl, and that says that whenever your active Darkness Pokemon takes damage from an opponent's Pokemon's attack, put 1 damage counter on the attacking Pokemon. 2 important points about this Spiritomb. Important point number 1, does not say it needs to be active. Important point number 2, does not say you can only put one of these abilities into effect at a time. What that means is if you've got multiple Spiritomb out, your opponent will take multiple instances of the damage. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to single-handedly make Darkness amazing, but I'm saying if you've got a Darkness deck you like, when you combine Dangerous Abandoned Building with Spiritomb, you are going to get a lot of extra damage on the board. That can make a big difference as the game goes along. But moving away from stadiums into items, we've got one that I'm definitely going to be playing, Fight Gong. Search your deck for a basic fighting type Pokemon or a basic fighting type energy, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Now, we have actually seen this before, and I'd forgive you if you'd forgotten, but it's actually Netball. Netball that we got back in Lost Thunder, let you search for a basic grass energy or a basic grass Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand. It's literally that, but now it's for fighting Pokemon rather than for grass. So you know what? Yeah. And here we are very much thinking about the upcoming Mega Lucario, and it's a deck I'm already very excited about. Well, now we've just gone and made it way more consistent. I cannot be the only one that thinks that sounds like a little bit of a plan. Unless you don't want to play Lucario, in which case, yeah, fine, I get it. It's not going to be as good. But we do still have a couple of more. Iron Defender is for metal Pokemon. During your opponent's next turn, your metal type Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. As a side note, it also includes Pokemon put into play after you play this card. That can be very, very important. Say if you play this card, then play Professor's Research and draw a metal Pokemon that you put into play, they would still get the protection, which makes a very big difference, because obviously an item card like this, if you're going to be doing a discard and draw effect, you're obviously going to play this first, so it's nice to have that extra little protection afterwards. And this is classic Metal, right? Reducing the amount of damage done. Metal loves tanking. This is just one more way to do so. And then we've got one last trick here, which is for Psychic Pokemon, Spooky Watch. Choose one of your evolved Psychic Pokemon and put any number of its evolution cards back in your hand to devolve it. Now, we've seen devolving cards before, and essentially, a lot of the time what you're looking for is reusing on evolution abilities. And I'm not sure Psychic's got that right now, but what it does have is Gardevoir and Mega Gardevoir, both of which are awesome, but remember with the new Mega Pokemon, they come off the same evolution line as the regular Pokemon. So Mega Gardevoir evolves from Curlier and Gardevoir evolves from Curlier. What we've got here is a nice little item card that essentially allows you to swap between the two. That is going to give a lot of utility. Pokemon are clearly trying to help out specific decks in specific ways here. All the cards I've shown you in this video are, hey, help a specific type of Pokemon, but well, except for Lieutenant Surge, that's just a cool card I wanted to show you. But I'm always a fan of picking a type and sticking with it. That's what we got here, so I'm a little bit excited. But I want to know what you feel, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And as always, please do drop a like and a comment below. It means a lot with the new YouTube algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.